G'day guys, my name's Nick. This is my channel Low Range Nick, where I do videos about four driving, accessory fitting and maintenance for your four-drive vehicle. So in today's video, I'm going to be fitting some diff breathers to the MU-X, and I'll show you just how you do it. So why would you fit diff breathers to your four-drive? So in a standard four-drive, your diff breathers, they come up probably about 30 centimetres, maybe 50 centimetres above the diff, and they'll have a little breather there. And some of them even just breathe straight off the top of the diff or straight at the top of the transmission, so they're not even raised on some models. So if you go through a water crossing with your standard diff breathers or your standard transmission breathers, the likelihood, if it's above sort of the height of your rim or the height of your tyre, is you're going to get water into those breathers and it's going to suck through the tube into your expensive transmission, transfer case or diffs, and cause damage, because water in oil is not a good thing. It causes, lack of lubrication, it can't transfer the heat as well as it should, and it can cause major damage. So this is a diff breather kit I've chosen. So it's just a kit off eBay, so I just found one that I liked the look of and ordered it. It was about 50 bucks delivered. So it comes with your black plastic hose for all the breathers, and then it comes with 4 breathers on this one. So you got front diff, rear diff, transfer case and gearbox. So part of the reason I chose this one was because it came with black plastic hose. I don't really like the look of the blue hose. I think it stands out too much. The black hose is nice and stealth, and it looks almost factory running the black hose. And also this nice black anodized holder for the breathers, so it's not going to rust, it's not going to corrode. Alright guys, so this is what comes with the breather kit. So you get your black plastic hose, you get some zip ties, you get 2 right angle bends, you get 2 straight connectors, you get 3 self-tapping screws, you get your bracket, and you also get your little breather here. So you just have to put your breather into the bracket like this, screw that nut onto the bottom, and then put your little breather in there like that. You just do that for all of them and tighten them up. Now the kit comes with 3 self-tapping screws, so I don't really like the idea of putting 3 self-tapping screws through my firewall, just because it leaves metal filings, untouched up paint and stuff in that area. So what I'm going to do is I've got this little bolt kit, so I've just got 3 bolts that will go through there. So I'll drill 3 holes through my firewall, I'll touch them up with some touch-up paint so there's no chance of them rusting, and then I'll bolt these up to the firewall. Alright guys, so I figured out where I'm going to put the diff breather bracket in my engine bay. So all I need to do now is hold it there and then mark my holes where I'm going to drill. Right, to get to the back of the firewall here, to put the nut through and to also drill through, I just need to take this rubber seal off. So you basically just pull the rubber seal forward to get it over one side and then back over the other side, and it just has a hole here and it just sits over these little clips. And then I can push that out of the way. So now I just need to get these plastic clips out along here. So you just need to go underneath the trim like this, squeeze them together, and then they pop up. So when I'm drilling these holes, I'm just going to put a little rag down here, just behind here, just to collect any metal shavings that might fall through. Hopefully I can just scoop those out. I've got my drill ready, so I'm just going to dip the tip of the drill a little bit of grease. So this will also help catch those metal filings so they don't drop down. Alright, now it's time to drill. Alright guys, so I've just got my touch-up paint for the car, so it's the same colour as the car. So I'll just touch up those 3 holes with this, and we'll be ready to mount it. I've got my touch-up paint in here, and I've got my little brush. I'm just going to touch up these 3 holes I've made. So now those 3 holes I drilled are touch-up paint. I'm just going to let them set for a couple of minutes, maybe about half an hour. Let that set, and then we'll come back and we'll mount the bracket. So I've given it a bit of time for that paint to dry, so now it's time to fit the bracket to the firewall. So I've just got these longer bolts here, and I'm just going to put a washer and a little split washer on there and mount it up to the firewall. So the breathers are all mounted and they're sitting pretty evenly, so I'm pretty happy with it. I'm just going to tighten them all up now. So now that's all tight, I can pop my trim back down, put my clips in, and then put this rubber seal back on. So now I just need to run my lines from my diff, transfer and gearbox all the way up to this bracket. Okay guys, so I'm at the rear diff now, and this is the breather here. So you can see the pipe, it screws into the diff right here. Then you got your breather hose which goes up here, up to some clips. So basically all I'm going to do is pop these clips out up here, get rid of the little breather cap, and then pull it off at the diff here and unscrew this fitting. That's the standard rear diff breather. So you can see it's only about, maybe 30-40 centimeters long. It just sits above the diff. So we'll get rid of this and we'll extend it right up to the engine bay. So this is the fitting you screw out of the diff. So it has the same thread on it as these little fittings that you get. So basically you just screw this little fitting out of the diff, screw this one in, and then you can push your hose into that fitting and then run it up to the front. So there's the fitting I've just screwed into the rear diff. So now I just need to put my hose in there, and then I need to find a safe way to route it up to the front of the engine bay. So you can see there I've just put my hose in to the diff, and then I've run it up to the top there, up to that bracket where the original breather was mounted, and I've left just a little bit of slack so when the diff is at full droop it still has enough movement there to allow it to droop right down without stretching that hose. And now I'm just going to run it all the way up the front of the car. So I've run it down the side of the fuel tank and then just down there, and I'll run it along the lines on that left hand side all the way up into the engine bay. So I've just run that rear diff breather all the way up here, so I've got the line coming up exactly where I want it, and now I'm just going to leave it there until I've done my other breathers, and then I'll cut them all to length. So I just had to pull off that transmission bash plate, so it's just a couple of 12mm bolts, and then that whole bash plate drops down and then you can gain access to the transmission. We're just going to go right up to the top on this right hand side, and we should be able to see the breather up there, and then we'll pull it off. So there's the factory rubber hose. So I've just fed the plastic diff breather hose into there, and then put a little zip tie on there just to hold a bit of tension on there and not let any water in. So I've fed it right down, so it's probably that far, about 10 centimeters into that pipe, so there's pretty much no chance of water getting in there. And then just the zip tie there for a bit of security. So now all I'm going to do is feed this plastic pipe up there, up into the engine bay and into my little breather. So I've just fed the transmission breather up along that side of the gearbox and then just up into the engine bay. So I'll just leave that one there with the rear diff, and I'll run the front diff now. So for the front diff on the MU-X and D-maX, these are your little breathers here. So just on the airbox you've got a little bag here, and there's two pipes, so two hoses. So pretty much all we're going to do for the front diff is take these two hoses out of here, push the pipe into them, and then we'll put zip ties on both of them to hold the pipe in there, and then we'll run them around to our breathers. So there is a third little breather down here just behind the headlight. So you can see that also comes from the front diff, but from the actuator somewhere, and it comes up here through this little oil separator and then breathes out through another pipe. But apparently there is a valve in here which is meant to keep water out, so apparently you don't need to extend this one. But I guess if you're pedantic about it, you could extend all three of these, but you just need a kit with a little adapter, with like a 3-piece adapter that you could put all 3 of those pipes in. But I'm happy to just extend these 2 down here, so I'll just pull those out of the bag and then we can go about extending them. So there's the end of those 2 hoses. So I'm just going to push the piping into these and then put a little zip tie around them just to hold them. That's nice and tight, it's not going to let any water in. Then I'll just run this one and then see how much length I got left on my pipe. Let's just run the other pipe over there. So now I'm just going to feed this second pipe in. Just put a zip tie on this one just to hold it in. That's nice and secure and no water can get in there. So I'll just route this one the exact same way I routed the other one. So I've just popped that little holder on the opposite side of the airbox, so that'll hold it in there nice and secure. And then I'll run my lines nice and neatly down here and along the firewall. So now I've got all my lines sitting there, I've got them all routed up towards the breather. I'm just going to pretty much go through, tidy up all the lines, make sure they're run really neatly, they're not going to rub through on anything or be exposed to lots of heat. And I'll zip tie them all out of the way and connect them all to the breather unit over there. So I've just routed my diff breathers along the back there. Nice gap between the EGR cooler so it's not going to get too hot back there. And then I've just trimmed up all my hoses to the right length and zip tied them all out of the way. And they're all sitting on the firewall now. I've just connected them up. Looks pretty good. So there you go guys, got my breathers all mounted. I've just put my under tray back on. I've zippy tied all these lines underneath so they're secured out of the way. So 2 breathers from your front diff, 1 breather for your transfer and gearbox, and then you've got the rear diff in one of these as well. There you go guys, the breathers are all installed. Tied all the lines out of the way and they're mounted neatly on the firewall there, where they're well out of the way from any water when I do those deep water crossings. So you know, it's a pretty easy install. It's just a little bit time consuming, you know, running all the lines and making sure everything's nice and neat. But other than that, it's quite simple and something you can do at home yourself. So I hope this video helped you. If it did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And stay tuned for more four-wheel driving and accessory fitting videos. Cheers guys.